The commute is terrible, man.
From like
From my
your like
bed to
bed to the office?
yeah, I hate it.
Oh my gosh,
Feel
that's
like I
funny.
haven't shaved in days too. This is the first time I actually see myself. Crazy.
That's hilarious, man. Dude,
Yep.
so I think we're live right now. I think we're good.
We're live. We're going. Okay.
We are live. Dude, so Christian, what's going on, man? Like how's the commute's pretty rough, you know?
It
But
is. It
you haven't
is.
shaved, no shaving, no combing of the
No.
hair.
No. This is actually combed, mind you. I just haven't gotten a cut though, man. I was supposed to see my stylist like literally right before we went into a full quarantine,
Yeah,
and this is the result. This thing happens. I'm
right,
normally
right,
more kempt than this, so it's
right.
whatever. I'll have to roll with it.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean, pretty much everyone is in a similar boat. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, how's everything else going as far as like, family, everyone good?
Yeah, thankfully, man, family's all doing good.
Yeah, of
Nobody's gotten it. I'm living with my
course, yeah.
parents right now for the time being to hunker down all together. And
Right.
my grandparent, he lives with my parents. And so, he's the one that we've been a little worried about. But
Sure,
I mean,
yeah.
he self isolates himself as it is. So, we weren't too worried from the get go that he was gonna get anything, in terms of
Right.
the virus and get sick. But thankfully,
Hmm.
everybody's doing good. My
That's good.
parents, as you know, they have the restaurant, right, and so they were kind of dealing with that on their
Hmm.
own as its own thing, and they just shut down the restaurant. Um,
Completely.
yeah, yesterday was the last day, so they're gonna
Oh
do it
man.
just out of stress, just because there was a lot
Hmm.
dealing with customer interactions. The employees, they were getting a little nervous about it, so they figured
Yeah,
it was probably just best for everybody to
for
just
sure.
hunker down for a bit, ride this one out, and
Yeah.
hopefully they're open soon. So I know it's not the
Right.
same with everybody. You're still at it, I
Yeah.
see.
No, I'm still here. I'm still here. I think it's a little bit different in every situation because, for example, the
Hmm.
restaurant, you need to be there. You need to be, like there needs to be a physical exchange of the food to the people. So
Yeah,
it's a little bit different here. Insurance, we transact, everything can be done virtually online or on the phone. So
definitely.
yeah, it's tough, but yeah,
Yeah.
man. Hopefully this goes away pretty soon, and yeah, we'll
Yeah, I
see.
mean, for people like me, and I'm, just for the viewers, so the viewers know, right? I'm sure we'll get into what you have to do,
Yeah.
but I'm not in the restaurant business like my parents. I'm in video
Right.
production and content creation, and
Hmm.
specifically for events, man. So a lot of my clients are actually
Right.
government agencies, businesses, public agencies, nonprofits who
Hmm.
need promotional materials for networking and business events, and
Exactly.
so all that got cleared out pretty much within a week after all
Yeah.
this happened.
So,
And so, that was a big hit initially because I was like,
mhm.
oh man, well, we're gonna have to find ways to really find customers who are still trying to produce content in any which
Right.
way. Weddings are another side of the business that I'm in too, right? Wedding videography,
Right.
and that's been taking a hit too. People postponing bridal shows, people postponing their weddings themselves. So
Yeah.
it's
Dang,
been an
that's crazy.
yeah, it's been a day-to-day thing to adapt. Some
What do
good
you, so
news. Yeah.
go ahead, go ahead. Go ahead with the good news. I want to
Well,
hear
yeah,
that
we'll,
first.
we'll yeah, we'll throw in a little good news and all that dismay, just so that people don't think that this is all just about, oh man, what is going wrong. There's some good stuff.
Right.
So, and I kind of had the mindset right off the get-go. Well, I
Hmm.
shouldn't say right off the get-go, but like maybe after a day of all the news hitting and seeing the trend of where the economy was
Right.
headed, where just policies were going to be going in, I realized
Right.
that, like in any situation where there's a dip in whether it's the economy, whatever, there's a chance for innovation and opportunity.
Sure.
You
Yeah.
know, and I think that's key for a lot of people, especially businesses, especially entrepreneurs, especially self-employed people, small
Sure.
teams, small businesses, anybody really, to look
Right.
for those opportunities, identify them, and use them. And a
Yeah.
lot of times, like in my case, it's come in technology. We're using a Zoom.
Sure.
We're using actually
Exactly.
not Zoom. Go to
Not Zoom.
meeting. I want to be careful with the promo there in case you're going to tag
Right.
them. But yeah, conference calling, man. Everybody's
Yeah.
conducting business away right now. to stay in tune with the safer at home orders and
So Christian,
it's
real
key.
quick, what else have you been doing like in this situation? I know you said weddings, everything, business owners are slowing down, their promotional stuff is slowing down.
Yeah.
What do you feel like you've been doing to try to like adapt and like just stay moving and like stay active and not, just completely come to a halt? Like, is there anything like specifically you could do like during this time? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so me specifically, I guess I'll go through how businesses run typically, right?
Yeah,
If the situation was not this,
sure.
ideally, we would schedule a production date, right, to go
Okay.
out and film a scene of whatever kind, whether it's an interview, whether it's an event, whether
Right.
it's a product demo, whatever the case is, right? Obviously, we
Sure.
can't do that comfortably now because
Hmm.
of the safer at home orders. And I should note that, things have been changing by the day. So
Right.
what I thought I was going to be doing a week ago is already not really going to happen so much anymore.
Right.
But so one of the things that I've been really keen on looking at right now is live broadcasting. I see that as a potential opportunity right now, and I'll explain a few reasons why. You see trends in different areas, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
What One of my main clients is a government agency out in Western Riverside,
Okay.
and they kind of take it's called WRCOG, Western Riverside Council of Governments, and they're trying to figure out strategies to connect their audience, which is a collection of 18 different jurisdictions out there.
Hmm.
And in working with them, we've identified a couple tools that we might be able to use to
Right.
produce content and put it out to an audience that can be engaged in a way that they see the production value
Right.
and it's still engaging. People can interact. And
Hmm.
I should throw out one of the tools that I've really just started to really look into. I've heard of it previously, but the situation kind of called for me to
Hmm.
look into it even deeper. Is a program called OBS. That's
Okay.
O as in Oscar, B as in boy, and
What
S
is
as
it? What does it do?
so it stands for Open Broadcaster Software,
Hmm.
and essentially what it is, it's a switcher, man. So just like any broadcasting TV network,
Yeah.
they have a switcher broadcasting tool that allows them to pick what source they're gonna take from, whether it be from a camera, whether it be from a live feed
Hmm.
remote or whatever. They position it on the frame on the screen so that you
Right.
choose what scene you want to choose essentially, and then
Okay.
somebody remotely can control where those sources are coming from. So for example, and actually I was going to call you to see if maybe we could test it out. Too
Yeah.
late, here we are. But essentially what you can do is take a webcam
Hmm.
uh, feeds. For example, we're on a window right now, right?
Right.
And through OBS, you basically say, okay, I want to take the source from this window, and I'm
Hmm.
gonna feed it through right here in this section of the screen, while another person's audio is gonna, or video feed is gonna be on this section, and you can fully customize it with your brand styling. It's you can throw in transitions, and honestly, it's really popular in the gaming community apparently. So I don't really
Oh, for
watch a
sure.
lot of gaming videos, but the gamers, they always have on Twitch, I guess, a
Right.
bunch of different elements incorporated into their broadcast so that it doesn't look like a just like a boring old conference call. I say that
And
lightly
it's is
because
it
that's what we're doing right now.
right, right. So
But with
wait,
OBS,
what
we can take it to a whole nother level essentially.
how do we even like take like I wish we would have done that now, but
Yeah, I know.
how do we like is it a platform? Like is it literally called OB like if I Google OBS, like what could I just start doing that right now? Because that would be pretty cool to like when you're
Yeah,
talking like it pops up like or if it the transitions and the focus of like a virtual conversation like this.
yeah,
Yeah, how do we like get that going? Like what do we if
exactly.
we
Yeah,
yeah.
so the beauty of it is that it's an open source program, right? So
Hmm.
they're always adding to the code, and it's free. The whole thing is
Yeah,
free. You don't have to pay any type of premium to use the thing. All you have to
nice.
do is have the added tools alongside of it, whether you're using a
Hmm.
video conference tool, whether you're using video on the side that you're going to showcase up on through the program, and then you
Right.
also need the broadcast destination. So whether it be YouTube Live, whether it be Twitch, whether it be
Mm.
uh, Facebook Live, you can
Right.
use any one of those platforms. Take the broadcaster ID from, say, Facebook Live, put it in
Hmm.
through OBS, and everything that you pump in through OBS in terms of content and what it looks like on the screen
Right.
is funneled straight through to YouTube Live. And the
Yeah.
great part of it for me is that, there is that, I guess OBS takes video conferencing and, product, I mean, sorry, content curation and
Right.
makes it somewhat scalable in terms of production value. So it makes it look good. You have the capability to throw
Hmm.
in things that you did in Photoshop, in
Right.
Adobe After Effects, and or whatever, put it
So
together with whatever live feed is going to be.
Christian, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What would you say, like, out of all those things that you listed that you, so that's the, dude, that OBS is really cool, but out of all the different things that you can do, as far as like the, I don't want to say genre, but the, different, you do weddings, you do, um, yeah, a couple other
Promotional
like business
videos.
promotional stuff. What like
Yeah.
industry or field do you like to work in the best? I know weddings is probably one of the most like frequent ones, but what like which one's your favorite to work on?
Yeah, actually, weddings aren't actually as frequent as
Oh, really?
yeah, no, they're really more of the secondary line of the business that
Oh,
I
okay.
do. A lot of the business that I do is actually with government agencies. Some don't I have no idea how I fell into the niche, but because I started when I first started making video productions like back in college, I was making stuff for like DJs,
Yeah,
for their show reel to hype up like the crowd to go see them at whatever venue they were performing.
right.
And then a
And
government
Christian,
agency kept on doing
real
it on the side. Yeah.
real quick, how did you even get started in the beginning? Like I know you've kind of been doing stuff like this, but what like was this catalyst? What was the spark that got you going?
Yeah, that I think you would have to go way back to
Yeah.
elementary school, man. It was in fourth grade, I want to say,
Hmm.
where this arts program, a nonprofit that operates here in Fullerton, that's where I do business now too,
Yeah.
called All the Arts for All the Kids. They came by in a bus that they basically modified to make a mobile arts lab, and so the thing was
Yeah.
decked out with Apple laptops, which back
Hmm.
when they were like the plastic white ones, with a little clicker and you had to press on. But it was
Right.
equipped with iMovie. They brought camcorders and they put us to do projects. And as soon as I did that, I fell in love with it. I wanted to be a movie director. And
Wow.
yeah, and actually, there's an in-depth story that I actually produced maybe like a couple months ago
Hmm.
in return for them. Because what was crazy is that this nonprofit, All the Arts, came by to my office in downtown Fullerton. I work out of a co-working space called
Hmm.
Fieldwork there, and
Currently, you mean like they currently came recently or?
this was like maybe a couple months ago. I hadn't seen
Oh,
them or
wow.
heard about them in years, dude.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, they had
Crazy.
this like art auction there in my space. I was leaving my shift. I was coming downstairs. I see them. They see me. I
Yeah.
tell them my story, and they were like, "Wow, for full circle." And so,
Wow.
long story
Crazy.
short, I made like a short little video, kind of
Hmm.
spotlighting my journey to give them
Hmm.
kind of like the I guess the creative credit for
Satisfaction. Yeah.
yeah, the credit for
Yeah,
basically
for sure.
making me do what I do today for a living. So
Yeah. So what,
that's where it all
Christian,
started, and
what
it kind of
happened like what happened in between all that? Like from like that till like you got to where you're at. I know you went to college, you like did a bunch of stuff in between there, but like
yeah.
were you like actively doing like you said DJ, you were doing little DJ things, and how did you like
Mhm.
what was the thing that like you say took you to the next level to start Promeli, like, the video works and everything and like in business for yourself?
Yeah, I think it. Well, the whole business, wanting to start a business really came from my parents. I would say, seeing
Right.
what they did, I always kind of had that, desire to do something on my own, start a business.
Hmm.
Mostly just for out of just example, right? I saw what they did, and I'm like, well, that's a pretty cool concept to be able to work for yourself. And I took that,
Yeah.
and then when I realized that I love to do video and that people, there was a demand for it, I kept
Hmm.
rolling with it. But really, the shift came in high school because all I would do in high school was really produce videos for like what we called a video yearbook, where we would basically take
Hmm.
snapshots of everything that happened throughout the year, whether it be like sports highlights, events, theater productions, whatever. We would capture all of that and then put it in like a package at the end. But what was cool about
Hmm.
it is that we would usually make like a parody on like a popular movie or something like that and make it a version of our high school with like actors and everything. And then in
Yeah.
between, that's where we would put the highlight reels. But so I did that all throughout high school and then other video projects. And what really took it to the next level
Yeah.
was, yes, producing videos for some of the DJs that would actually put on some of our homecomings and proms.
Hmm.
and putting out content for them on Facebook. Got noticed. Some event production companies saw that and they wanted their own thing, and so I kind of went down the line on that. But then the government route really happened simultaneously in senior year because I
This is
produced a
senior year of high
video.
school, you said, or
Senior
senior year
year
of
of
college?
high school.
Okay.
Yeah, senior year of high school. I produced a video for this competition
Hmm.
called the Money Wise Teen competition, where basically high school students in econ and gov classes were supposed to basically teach a subject, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I wasn't even in the class, man. And some friends of mine were in the class, and they said, "Hey, we have this contest. You're the video guy. Do you want to do this with us?" And I said, "Sure." And in the competition we won the school competition, we won the district competition, and then we went to the top 5 in the
Wow.
region. Put on a presentation, and wouldn't you know, we got first place. And
Wow.
so after that, one of the guys that were at the in my group, his
Hmm.
dad actually was the executive director for this agency out in Western Riverside, WRCOG. And
Right.
ever since he saw what we did, he saw what I produced through that project, and he said, "Hey, maybe we can use this for our organization." And that kind of set
Right.
me up with a relationship there. And it's been, and every year, man, I'm surprised like how long it's been that I've been working with that particular
Yeah.
agency. They've been a client of mine, and they really set me up for success to pursue other clients and really stay in.
Nice.
So that's kind of where it all came from, and that's where I am now.
Christian, I have another question for you.
Yeah,
And this is kind of like I do try to bring as much value to other people and like potentially somebody out there who's thinking about doing what you're doing. How
yeah.
did you know that like I know you said your parents had a big influence because they're entrepreneurs with the restaurant and stuff, but how did you know like I want to do this? I don't want to work for a company. I want to do this independently. And also like what would you recommend to somebody who's like thinking about that or is on the fence of it? How to get like started and get it going fast and quick and efficiently.
Yeah, I sometimes think about like the path that I took and like how I
Hmm.
was able to really stay with it,
Yeah.
um, because I really did do it throughout college, and so I think
Right.
that's one of the keys, is pursuing something you're passionate about as
Hmm.
early as possible. Find something you're passionate in.
Right.
I
Would you
I
say
had
take risks too? Like, do you think like taking a risk and doing that yourself or working for
definitely.
somebody or what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I did, and then, it's been working out for sure. Any type of mentorship you can get, that's also key,
Hmm.
right? I wouldn't have been able to run a business as well as I do, or at least as I try to run it without the right mentors, be that,
Right.
professionals, be that in family. Find key people that you can really lean on for advice. I think that's really important. And
Yeah.
then, but for me, I think what really got me the exposure and the right relationships was finding the value in key relationships and honestly
Hmm.
giving your stuff away for free. I did
Yeah.
that. I did that for a while in college, and I had the means to. I had a side, a part-time job at a fish restaurant out in Long Beach,
Nice.
and so while I was, serving up fish fillets there,
Right.
on the side, I was producing videos for whoever I can, serve.
For free
Um,
though. You did them literally like you would just offer them to the business, do them for
next to
free and
free, next
next
to
to
free.
free.
So probably starting, yes, it was like when I had
Right.
literally no projects to lean on and to
Hmm.
showcase. I was like, hey, with especially this was in particular with the DJs that I was producing videos for.
Right.
Here, you know what? Yeah, first project, first two, I'll make them for free. If you like what you do, what you see, give me so much. Give me a couple $100 just for this one video. And that kind
Right.
of created a following, that created demand elsewhere, and that kind of sets you off on the
Hmm.
path that you need to go, and then you learn as you go through that. So
What would you say to somebody who's like feeling like they're unsure? They're like, I really want to do this, but like my parents are telling me like I should go and study accounting in school and I don't know what to do. Like I'm pretty good
follow your
at
dream, follow your dream. That's what I'd say.
Right, right.
No,
Yeah.
obviously that's key, right? Just again, it's the passion that you got to follow. If you're not gonna like what you do, then why even pursue it at all, right? Unless
Right.
unless I should say, unless you're so well, you're so good at what you do and you get paid for it that you have plenty of time on the
Right.
side and you get plenty of breaks to do what you love, right? That's definitely a
Yeah.
counter to that. But
Christian,
yeah,
do you feel like since you do like love what you do, you love video editing, do you feel like it allows you to work like longer hours and like work harder on what you're doing?
Yeah, man, sometimes too much.
Yeah,
I don't know when to leave the office sometimes if I'm
right.
honest. And but I like being productive, to be honest. I love
Hmm.
finding innovative ways to do business with what I do. I should mention, I went to school not for film making. I went to school for marketing. So I was a marketing major and I minored in
Comes
film production. Yeah, it come
comes hand in hand.
exactly. And so I kind of realized probably after I started making some of the videos for that government agency that I really enjoyed
Hmm.
producing marketable content. And content marketing nowadays has evolved tremendously. Like and that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about, especially because
Sure,
content marketing is something that every business should be doing nowadays,
for
whether
sure.
it be through video, whether it be through photos, graphic design, infographics,
Hmm.
everything, and having a presence on social media, which honestly I could use some work on myself because sometimes I work too much for the client that I don't have time to dedicate to my own marketing. But
Right.
this whole
Yeah.
COVID-19 situation has actually opened the door for that a little bit too.
Yeah.
Working on a
Yeah.
website, social media, and everything.
There you go. Christian, what's like the dream, like the end goal for you that you see your business getting to one day? Like if you said like that's the ideal, I like that's it, like that's the top.
I don't know if I have a clear end goal.
Yeah.
Um, it's really I don't want to say it's about the journey, but it's really about like those relationships to build up on. So like I don't really see a
Right.
ceiling for it. I just want to expand to a point where I am serving the clients that just really fulfill the work that I do and the people that I
Yeah.
work with. More and more every year, I find ways to add to the team, right? Whether
Hmm.
it be through contractors, whether it be to eventually to have a set team that works on certain projects. We made the step last year to open up an office like you, right?
Yeah.
And that really created a destination point to be able to do business and to attract customers and to clients to come in, get a
Yeah.
feel of our vibe and get a feel of the work that we do. So in that sense, I think the growth trajectory is all about
Hmm.
meeting new people and expanding the relationships that go
For
into
sure.
making business happen. I think
Yeah.
so.
So,
Uh, Goal isn't super defined yet in terms of end goal, but
right.
we'll see.
Do you have some like people on the team, or is it just you doing it right now?
Day to day, I don't have a set team.
Okay.
I bring in subcontractors when jobs are necessary, and then
Got
I
it.
work with a local high school over here in Fullerton that has a dedicated internship program actually, which I was a part of back in high school too. It's Troy High
Smart.
School in Fullerton, yeah. And so every summer, we bring on a couple interns that help out, and they get hands-on experience, man, on production,
Hmm.
marketing, pretty much everything. They wear maybe too many hats sometimes,
Right. What are those kids like? What would they need to do to like get an opportunity with you? Like what would they need?
Yeah, I really it's just about being able to show that same drive that I think
Yeah.
uh, is at the core of video production, of
Right.
marketing. Being wanting to produce content with a focus on a purpose, I guess, for connecting brands with a story and making
Hmm.
that story resonate with the right audience. That's really what I've always been about, no matter what type of
Right.
content. The story
Do
is
you think
key in everything.
how do you judge somebody based on like I don't know. It's hard to say. Like I know the drive is super important, but um, like I could be the most driven, like wannabe, like videographer, and then I go in there and I just like suck, dude. Like I'm not creative. Like I don't have the right angles. Like
Yeah,
um, is it how do you base or how do you measure creativity on like some of these people? You know?
yeah, yeah, sure. There's definitely like a benchmark that has to be met, right?
Right.
And I have to be, and honestly, it's changed in the last 3 years that I've been doing the internship because or working with the internship program because a lot of those kids at the
Hmm.
beginning weren't getting the hands-on experience, like say with editing programs, with the right cameras that we were using.
Right.
Um,
But you
but
give them
since
that freedom.
then, yeah, with hands-on training, basically, it was it was
Nice.
really much. was very much a crash course, day to
Right.
day, because they come on in June, more or less, like late May, June, for the summer internship, and that's actually what some of my busiest times, with
Hmm.
some of these government agencies. So just kind of like, hey,
Wow.
pick up that camera. That's how that works. You'll get it later. Set him up with the editing program. You'll learn it as you go. It's best to just hop straight into it and learn as you
Yeah,
go project sometimes. But
for sure.
I will say that I think the key, well, first of all, with Troy High School, they're set up, and a lot of the other high schools are set up similarly to
Hmm.
prepare students for a certain career path. So Troy High School, they've got a Troy Tech program that's basically that gives them students different pathways to choose from, whether it's engineering, business, and hey, they have media productions too. And so I'm so jealous, man, because literally the year after I graduated,
Hmm.
no, 2 years
They
after I
got like
graduated,
they got like a full studio or something.
it's incredible, dude. It's like
Oh
state of the art.
man.
It's better than what I had at Cal State Long Beach when I was going to university over there. Like it's
Wow.
ridiculous. Like yeah, it's state of the art. They were well funded, and they're setting up their students now for success, because at the beginning, I think they,
Hmm.
some of the sophomores and juniors that were going into the program didn't have the basics,
Yeah.
that I would have expected. But
Hmm.
either way, the students at that high school, they're fast learners and stuff like that. That's another key that I look for in those candidates. The willingness to learn, and and if they're able to demonstrate that learning curve in another application, whether it be
Yeah.
through a program or through some project that they worked on, if somebody can illustrate that and demonstrate that, I think that's key,
Right.
and that really stands out to me at least.
Christian, I have another question for you. As far as like the content that you create, would you say there's one way that you think is more? So what I'm trying to say here is, for my business personally, I think the best way to create content, um, and what I've seen the most engagement is people making more, contextual real life content that people would resonate with, versus like a promotional video sometimes, like the promotional videos are great. They're important to make your brand and image look professional, but when it's time to like really engage somebody and they want to feel personal, as far as an insurance agent, there's a million of them on every corner of every street. So um, what do you think, what do you think about social media and like how content should be created for like small business owners? Do you think the promotional video, how much of the balance between the two, like real life and then promotional stuff?
Yeah, big time. No, and I've seen some of the content that you put out there, man. It's awesome
Hmm.
stuff, honestly.
It's
And
all
you
right.
raise a good point. No, no, it's honestly the one that stands out is the cop one where you pull over the guy in the car, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Beautiful. It should go up for an award. No, but you raise a good point on
Right.
that balance, and I think every company has to consider their arsenal of content options,
Hmm.
right? And there's always user generated stuff, and then there's professional produced type of stuff.
Right.
It all has its place, and it all depends on how you want to present and what your audience is. That all
Hmm.
comes into, I think, the marketing side of things. When you're identifying your communication goals, those
Right.
objectives that you want to hit, and the audience that you want to reach too. I think
Hmm.
more and more when you see the way some of the social media, the way the platform is structured, like for example TikTok. I've seen some of the stuff that
Yeah.
you put out on TikTok. Nobody
Really.
on TikTok wants to see. Yes, I have. Nobody on TikTok really wants to see a professionally well-made video. If they see production value, they sense that they're going to be sold to in a way,
Right.
you know. Whereas if you're trying to reach an audience that's maybe a little older in the demographic, they
Hmm.
might look for that kind of professionalism. And there's data that supports, one or the other, and it's really about being conscious about that data and where to find
Right.
it, and applying it when you need it most, pretty much.
Right.
And then I've kind of identified that too, that I think if people had the option to, a lot of the
Hmm.
businesses, if they could incorporate production value into the content that they put, whether it be better audio, whether it be better video, whether it
Yeah.
be that the edit is more seamless, or there's elements of motion graphics and stuff like that. Like I've seen the your logo bumper that you had developed. That stuff is
Right.
awesome, you know, and it just makes it stand out. Even no matter if you're doing user generated content or not,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff stands out to people, and it basically differentiates you from another, whether it be a competitor or in general, so that you become top of mind for some of these people.
Yeah. So
And
kind of
yeah,
like, do you think that could be hurtful in a way, like throwing in like that logo within like a organic, you know, piece of content? Like for example, if this went live right now, and then 5 sec or 3 seconds later you saw my logo, could that actually be hurting my like content because people are like, oh, this is like, you know, high value production video?
yeah. Again, I think it depends on the application. I don't think you can really say until you run tests, right? And
Right.
marketing and in advertising, A/B testing is key, so
Yeah.
that you can optimize content and decide what works and what doesn't work. Even at like, website level, you're always gonna what they say, for search engine optimization, for example, just talking about
Hmm.
design in general, right? There's so much difference that can go into whether like a button has a certain color or has a
Oh
certain
yeah.
font, and the conversion on one button on your website might be very different based on how that button appears to people.
Right.
So it's really about consistency. So
Hmm.
if you're putting out a lot of content, which you do, and you're able to see the analytics on your back end of Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, whatever, and see what works and what doesn't work, that's the
Right.
best tool there, and it's
Sure.
not for me to decide, whether putting certain elements on one piece of content is going to work. And that's the beauty of my my work too, because a lot of times my clients can't rely on just one piece of content to see results. And
Right.
that's the nature of all type of content marketing. Consistency is key, and having a content calendar and having,
Hmm.
set dates for these, and consistency in the messaging too is really important.
How important do you think that content calendar is? I want to dive into that because I think that's something that I've heard people at the top of the insurance industry talk about, and they say
Yeah.
that that is the number one, like some of the biggest shifts if you could start using a content calendar. But I personally don't know a lot about it, and like anybody watching right now might not know anything about it. What exactly, like, how do you use content calendars?
Yeah, and again, it's content calendars for myself is something that's been developing because I
Yeah.
focus so much on making the content for other clients too, right? But essentially what the content calendar does is it basically organizes your messaging so that you
Hmm.
and the key in it all is that consistency that I was talking about, right?
Right.
So as long as you're consistent in your brand messaging and the
Hmm.
the tone, the styles, it doesn't matter. Well, it does matter, but whatever messaging you're putting out, it's going to
Right.
resonate with a certain audience. You're not reaching everybody, right? You're casting a wide net, and then the people that really react and engage with the content that you're putting out, those are the key people that you want to go after, right?
Right.
Especially when you're talking about like a buyer's journey, right, and a
Hmm.
conversion funnel, where at the top you're trying to get all that awareness.
Everybody. Yeah.
Everybody, yeah, aware of Adelphia, right?
Sure.
Aware of Primelli Video Works and what they do, what they're all about, their colors, their their vibe, their style, what their hair looks like in the morning, that kind of stuff. I hope your audience doesn't remember this, but I'm running out of hair stuff, man. Anyway, but so at the top is the awareness, and then when you funnel down, you're narrowing it down to basically those decisions, right? And
Right.
making comparisons between competitors, and maybe exactly what kind of product offering you're offering, and then at the very
Hmm.
end is the decision, right? Whether they're making a purchase, whether they're making a repeat purchase,
To
and
convert.
yeah, and then all that content, that you put out there has to serve a certain purpose in those.
Right. To lead them down that path to least resistancy, would you say too? Or it's
Yeah,
kind of, yeah,
there's
it's gotta be
resistance.
well thought out.
Yeah, resistance is a word, but it's more about openness.
Right.
If they're I guess if they really embrace you more, there's not going to be a need for resistance. If they're comfortable with your marketing, with your communication, with your brand as a
Hmm.
whole, that's going to be key. And I
Right.
think you do a good job about that. You especially with from color scheme. Blue is a great choice. Honestly, blue is inviting. It's relaxing. It makes you feel at ease.
Right.
And then when you contrast it with like the image of I don't know if I would say like what, like power, like just like you have the wolf is like just like, oh my
Yeah.
God, you can trust this guy, you know, and that
Thank you.
there's yeah. So
Appreciate
and
that.
again, that's to me just looking at the branding that you've put out so far as an
Hmm.
example, and every brand is going to have a different reaction in terms of, you know, what they want and then what they
Right.
actually from their
Sure.
audience change drastically. So that's the kind of things that I kind of look at when it
Yeah.
comes down to content marketing. And honestly, I love that challenge because every brand is different. And
Hmm.
when we go back to talking about, you know, stories, which is essentially what video production is all about,
Yeah.
graphic design is all about. It's really about that storytelling. Storytelling is so
Sure.
important when it
That's
comes to
huge.
marketing and branding, because if you don't have a story to tell, first of
Right.
all, nobody's going to listen to it, nobody's going to stick around, and nobody's
Right.
going to really want to hear the ending. You know.
I'm glad you brought that up, Christian. What do you think, or how do you think businesses or small businesses that are thinking about, let's say, working with you, how could they start developing like a storyline that could be effective for their business? Do you think it's just like pressing the mind and thinking of like everything that's got them there and then just creating content around it? Or how do you think storytelling can be like, sparked?
Yeah, I mean, every brand, first of all, yeah, every brand should have a story, right?
Hmm.
But like any story, there has to be characters, and
Right.
I think if if every brand, you can pick up any example, should have a character, an ideal persona that company basically appeals to, right? So
Hmm.
if you take, for example, oh God, I don't know, Nike, you know,
Right.
you know the type of persona that they look after, you know, you see it in
Hmm.
their imaging, you see it in their branding, you see it in their style, in this in their products themselves. You see the sleekness. They go after almost like jet like people, you know, like they're
Yes, that's an interesting word.
and they go for precision, they go for
Right.
performance, like like just to the tippy top, and
So what
Nike
do you
positions itself as the best of the best, right?
what do
You
you
see
think like a
everything.
sorry to cut you off. What do you think like a small business owner like he says like I want to get my storytelling like I want to get that going. How do I get, like how do I spark my like what do I do for myself? Like Nike is great and everything and like but I don't know how to do it like for my small business, you know?
Yeah, it again it varies from business to business, right? But
Hmm.
every single business, if you're in business,
Right.
has something that they're selling to, right? And so you someone that they're selling to, I should say. And so if you can identify that key customer, that key
Right.
market segment, you have a story that that you can relate to
Right.
them. Everybody's gonna be looking for something that appeals to them. They want to be fulfilled. Everybody wants to be, you know, made. And especially now during this time when
Yeah.
people are running out of content to view
Oh
and
yeah.
people to engage with, brands can step in right now. Small businesses can step in right now and fill that
Hmm.
void. And you know, funny, I should mention, and I don't know if you saw the recent video that I posted.
Oh, I saw it.
Um, uh, I developed this series a while ago. A series is actually a good way for a lot of people to do content marketing because it is consistent. You can get on a content calendar with it.
Right.
And so I developed a year ago what's called the Local SoCal Preview, right? And so what it was
Hmm.
really meant to be is a spotlight on businesses, on organizations, on nonprofits, on people who are locally and SoCali unique, right? And so
Sure.
uh, I felt like it was a way to give people, to give businesses a way to get content, which is something that everybody's always looking for, right?
Right.
And give it to them in a way that can resonate with their audience, so that they themselves as a brand can have a story to tell. And so in this
Right.
COVID-19 time frame right now,
Hmm.
I've been having to try to get creative. It got a little, I guess, delayed because of the developments that went from like a week before to now. And so I'm
Hmm.
working on making remote, going back to what we started with OBS, using that
Right.
or some other format to be able to tell the stories that I want to tell without actually physically going to some of these areas and meeting with people to practice that social distancing
Yeah.
and safer at home measures. But yeah, so with the local SoCal preview, that's what I've been trying to do and spotlight businesses, and that's just another method that
Nice.
myself have been trying to showcase what the community is doing, what businesses are
Yeah.
doing, and what I can do using content.
Sure. Christian, what's your story?
What's my story?
Yeah.
It's developing. It's developing. But
Okay.
I think I think for me, what I've realized is, especially seeing how they're, and this is actually key too, especially for a brand, for a business that has multiple service offerings, right?
Sure.
You have to be conscious about what the story is and who you're trying to relate to, right? And I
Right.
realize that I'm not going to be telling the same story of what Premier Beauty Works is to my wedding clients as I am telling to my government clients,
Sure.
right? And so the stories are defined very differently. If you ask a wedding person, what I hope they would say about Premier Beauty Works is first and foremost trust, right? It's a big
Sure.
day. They have to depend on you that you can deliver a result, just anything that you can capture the
Right.
moments that matter most. And second, of course, is to tell it in a way that's fulfilling for them too, that captures a story. And really, what I aim to do with
Hmm.
my video production and weddings is to make people the a story. We're going to be repeating story a lot, but make a story in itself of their day. Sometimes a lot of people who get married, actually, I talk to my clients a lot. They realize that it's not just an event, but it is the story in itself, the day,
Yeah.
you know. And that's my aim. I hope to make my clients realize that the whole day in itself is an experience that that they can have captured, crafted in a way that tells a story of, you know, one person coming together with another, uh, and I think people try to get that, you know, when they receive the final version of their video for the wedding.
Do you read books or like do you watch movies or anything that like inspires you to like let's say for a wedding, like do you ever watch like rom-coms that maybe like could possibly, you know, like spark like the inspiration of like that's this vibe or that's like what we want to portray. Do you ever like think about that like with your
It's
mindset?
actually it's actually a practice of mine to watch The Notebook at least twice a week, just so that just so I stay with the right messaging that I'm trying to go with. No,
Right, right.
it, you know, I've been a film buff since, you know, I was a kid, so and I was always very analytical in terms of like what it
Hmm.
takes in filmmaking to tell a story, and that's the beauty for me in video production, because like every single piece of the elements in video production can translate into a style, into a tone, and it's weird because in film they actually teach you this, but video producers, video makers, filmmakers, whatever kind,
Hmm.
are manipulators. Like they're
Hmm.
meant to manipulate your feelings to feel a certain way, whether the
Okay.
camera is twisted like this, whether it's zoomed in my face. What, you know, you're supposed to get a certain feeling just looking at the
Interesting.
frame. Everything, you know, it's a canvas to be painted on, and depending on what
Right,
colors are used, what strokes are painted on, you're gonna feel a certain way. So,
right.
in that sense, I'm always looking at films to get to maybe translate those elements into my video
Hmm.
productions, whether it be weddings or, you know, promotional videos, and
Hmm.
content marketing for my clients, business and nonprofits and organizations and the like. But yeah, that would probably be the source of a lot of that inspiration, other than
Nice.
some Oscar-worthy films. And yeah, every now and then the rom-com or two.
So Christian, let's say one of our like somebody watching really wants to work with you. What's the best way for them to get in touch with you or get like a quote on like how much a video might be? Yeah.
Yeah, they can visit my website at www.promelivideoworks.com. That would be the first way to go. It's in works right now to be much
Okay.
more streamlined, because as of right now, it's been pretty much set up to give you kind of the basics
Hmm.
on the service offerings. But I'm working right now to basically make it a lot more, yeah, much more streamlined and a much better user experience, I should say.
Right.
But they can also check out samples on social media. That's where most of the recent work goes. They can check out the local SoCal preview, which is on Instagram, Facebook as stories,
Hmm.
and as series on Instagram Watch. So if
Cool.
anybody's interested in getting spotlighted, actually, right now with the local SoCal preview for COVID-19 times, I really want to focus in and hone in on how people are being innovative themselves,
Right.
challenges that they've faced, and how they're working to overcome it. I know a lot of businesses, you know, that serve food, they've had to go into takeout and delivery mode, you know, and
Yeah, that's great.
I've been really curious to know how each business is adapting uniquely.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
that in itself is a story to tell, especially
Tell
during
the
this.
story, right?
So that's where I'd say to go first. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's where you
Um,
can start.
Christian, we usually end the interviews with a quote, something that you believe in. Do you have
Mm.
a particular quote that you kind of like a mantra or something that you live by, or a quote that's just resonated with you from like a young age or anything like that?
You know, quote that like sticks in my head. I can't think of one in particular.
Yeah,
Um, but I have heard multiple times, and I think we mentioned at the beginning that
yeah.
what especially for people who are looking for during this time especially
Mm-hmm.
um, to create value is
Mm-hmm.
that if you do have something that's worth something that's valuable, and if you give it for free or with wholeheartedly that you believe what you have is genuinely going to help somebody else, especially who's in business, who is trying to reach some other people. If you give that away for free, then it creates value in itself.
Right.
And I think that's something that I've always lived by, and I'll definitely be incorporating during this time.
Show your value up front, and then if it converts into a better opportunity in the future, it's kind of like I've heard this a similar thing. Don't try to get the heat from the fire without putting the wood in first. Like you can't get heat from the fire without putting the wood in first. So
That's
you
right.
gotta put the wood in, and
Uh-huh.
that's how you get the heat.
Yeah. Until you realize you have gas.
Right, there you go.
That's the other way. But yeah, no,
Right.
totally on point, man.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Christian. That's pretty much it, dude. We got to wrap up. That was I'm
All
pretty
right.
sure that was like 45 minutes, but
Yeah, and
um,
I know we just kind of hopped it straight into it. I was still
yeah,
gonna reach out to you to see format, like, hey, how long
right.
should we go to? But hopefully people
Yeah,
enjoy it.
it's all good,
And hopefully
man.
people
Yeah.
get some value out of this. So
No, they for sure will. I think there was definitely some good nuggets in there. I think um, yeah, what I try to do is like I try to just go through and just timestamp stuff myself, and then I'll
oh,
go and
cool.
I'll just chop it up and then
Yeah, take pieces.
um, yeah. But
Yep.
dude, no, good stuff. I think I try to ask questions too that will be like helpful for potentially somebody who's like young
Yeah.
and
Is
is
that a
like
lot of your
think
following?
not really, but like for some reason that's where my like gut like tells me to go. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I've started to like see a trend in like what I'm doing now. A majority of the people I'm talking to are like people that are on the way up. They're not like already there, like people that are just building their businesses and trying to be like at the top.
Yeah.
Um, so like that's kind of like I think the niche I'm like stumbling upon now that I'm starting to see, but we'll see
Yeah,
how
that's
it
awesome.
progresses. Yeah.
Yeah, the more you make of these, I think the better idea, like we talked about, that you'll get of like what people
Yeah.
actually want to watch. So I'm doing the same thing, and I think
Right.
everybody should be doing the same thing. So in that in itself, people are going to learn from this. So awesome stuff you're
Dude,
doing, dude.
dude,
Honestly.
no, you too, man. I'm honestly like I'm proud of you and I'm stoked that you're like doing all the like just you're just going the entrepreneurial route instead of like,
Thank you. Yeah. Same to
it's
you.
yeah. Yeah. Thank you, man. I appreciate
We
it.
we
But
were in well, you were in diapers when we first met, man.
I
So
know.
it's wow, we didn't even get to that. But
Dude, that's true. We could
but
throw that
we're
in there.
yeah, we went like this, and then now we're coming back together. So I
Dude,
hope
it's
there's
true.
opportunities to collaborate. Honestly, I
For
think we
sure.
talked about else previously, but
Yeah.
uh, I hope this isn't the last that your audience and my audience sees of
No, no, for
Chris and
sure.
Chris together.
Dude, definitely, definitely. All right, well, Christian, dude, I'm gonna hop off. I got a few other things I gotta finish up, but
You got it, man.
dude, great stuff, man. I'll download this and then I'll send it over to you too, so you can take a look at it.
Yeah, tag me
Yeah,
and yeah, I can cross post if you want it too.
for
So
sure. Yeah, that'd be dope. That'd be dope.
all right,
All
man.
right, Christian, good
Take
stuff,
care.
man. We'll talk to you soon,
Say hi to the folks.
dude. Yeah, tell your parents I say hi and stay healthy and quarantined.
Of course, we'll do,
Drink
man.
some quarantinis.
Gotta start. All right,
Right,
man.
right. All right,
Take care.
Christian, we'll see you. All right, see you. Bye.
I don't know how to quit, but I'll figure it out.